Hello, welcome. Here we are. It is September 6th. September 6th, welcome. We're here at GreenFire Television, the Golden Eternity this hour. And as we participate in the dance of the turning of the seasons, we're moving, the circle moves, and this is early September, and tonight is a full moon. It is called the barley full moon, or the corn full moon, better known as the barley corn full moon, which goes way back to medieval and earlier times, and they had dances around this time of the John Barley corn full moon. And that's right around the time of the Burning Man, where out in the desert, the Burning Man ceremonies are all ablaze with the burning of the treatise of the season, and burning away the dross of whatever has happened in the last cycle of the year, whatever that is in our lives. We burn away the dross. Washing, getting our mirror shine clean. Maybe we want to make sure our plants are watered. Little things that might be important. Let's see if we can wash our windows, get some more light in there. So we're gonna wash our windows and polish the jewel. And in that sense, the John Barleycorn full moon, may it rise in each one of your hearts tonight, tomorrow, and the coming week. It's a time to have nuos vitae, new life, setting the intent for compassion, caring, and concern, tilth, plenty, abundance, health, regeneration, peace, and justice. These are not small words in these times. Anytime we can reflect on these higher principles, higher values, we help polish and wash our spirit good, polish our jewel, polish our mirror, wash our windows, wash our spirits clean. A hot tub in autumn. Cold, dark, autumnal air of night threatens my primal sense of safety as clouds cover the new moon. Then blow on. I strip naked to the elements. Let the cold penetrate my skin before slipping into the round belly of the steaming tub. Let the cold penetrate my skin before slipping into the round belly of the steaming tub. The warmth instantly going about its cleansing job. The warmth instantly going about its cleansing job, melting away the armor of the day. The tight places in my back where I held in my truth. Light anxiety of others' energies clinging to my skin. Steam lifts and dispels, evaporates their fleeting essence as my gaze rises towards the vastness. A reminder of my place in things. A reminder of my place in things. A reminder of my place in things. I forget the day and my smallness, lost now in the incomprehensible. As the owl thumps her massive wings, gliding through the night, where she hunts and finds home in the dark. Ah, a hot tub in autumn. Cold, dark, autumnal air of night threatens my primal sense of safety as clouds cover the new moon. Then blow on. I strip naked to the elements. Let the cold penetrate my skin before slipping into the round belly of the steaming tub. Yeah, let the cold penetrate my skin before slipping into the round belly of the steaming tub. The warmth instantly going about its cleansing job, just cleaning away, the warmth going instantly about its cleaning job, cleansing all, melting away the armor of the day. Dear friend, let us in this golden eternity of this hour melt away the armor of the day. Let us all do it together. Melt away the armor of the day. Melting away the armor of the day, the tight places in my back where I held in my truth. I held in my truth and I needed to let it go. Light anxiety of others' energy clinging to my skin. Yeah, melt away the light anxiety of others' energies clinging to my skin. Steam lifts and dispels, dear friend. Steam, the vapor breath of warmth. Steam lifts and dispels, evaporates their fleeting essence as my gaze rises towards the vastness. And my gaze starts rising up and up and up as my gaze rises toward the vastness. A reminder of my place in things. A reminder of my place in things. I forget the day and my smallness lost now in the incomprehensible. My smallness lost now in the incomprehensible. As the owl thumps her massive wings, gliding through the night, where she hunts and finds home in the dark. A hot tub in autumn. May this wash your spirit clean, and may it open up your sense of smallness to the incomprehensible. And may your spirit and your gaze rise toward the vastness. As mentioned, tonight is the full moon, and a little earlier, in another couple of days, on the 7th, the new moon will begin. It will be the new moon, and during the new moon, it's time to set your intent. And for regeneration, and for all the lost souls of all the lost planet airmen that ever lived, gather your crystals and put the amethyst near your heart. And activate your crystals tonight in the full moonlight. Put them in some water and charge that water, that crystal water. And get your crystals charged up in the full moonlight. And then in the morning, drink that crystal water. And then set your intent and where you want to plant your crystals for your intent by the light of the new moon. And the new moon can bring in all the lost airmen that ever lived, all the lost planet airmen that ever lived, and set our intent tonight in this tent of the golden eternity of now. For all the lost planet airmen that ever lived. And these crystals can do their powerful magical child work by the light of the moon. And we can send our heart into the future, send our eyes into the future, and set our intent for the 7th generation yet to come, and set our intent for the elders and the spirit ones who travel on to the spirit world. The elders and the ancestors, in the golden eternity of this hour of now. And in that sense, we have electronic incense that wafts around our inner being, around this golden eternity of this electronic campfire. And so light a little incense and a little candle, for it is the night of the full moon. And in the sense of the full moon, there is a sense of confrontation of ourselves. We have to have a self-examination, examination conscience, call it discernment. And the image of the goddess that does this kind of work is called Mother Kali. And the comforter, the compassionate one, is Kuan Yin. And Mother Kali is the confrontation of ourselves. And so this is a little bit about Mother Kali. She is fierce and violent, yes, but she is also the benevolent mother. When you have a practice of freely giving expression to whatever arises within you, you help to transform the Kali in you, the Kali Yuga. You mend the violent terror between what to hide and what to reveal inside. You mend the violent terror between what to hide and what to reveal inside. You stitch the angry split between what is shameful and what is beautiful. As this inner wholeness takes place, you come to love and accept the parts you once rejected. As this inner wholeness takes place, you come to love and accept the parts you once rejected. You become the benevolent mother of yourself. No longer the violent slayer of what to accept and what to reject inside. You lovingly welcome your orphaned parts with sweet and tender arms. She is Kali. This is confrontation of ourselves, self-examination, discernment. So we'll slow her down here and let her do her magic. She is Kali. She is fierce and violent. Yes, but she is also the benevolent mother. When you have a practice of freely giving expression to whatever arises within you, you help to transform the Kali in you. You mend the violent tear between what to hide and what to reveal inside. You stitch the angry split between what is shameful and what is beautiful. You stitch the angry split between what is shameful and what is beautiful. As this inner wholeness takes place, and it's all within the inner realm, dear friend, the esoteric, the implicate order of things, the invisible. And as this inner wholeness takes place, you come to love and accept the parts you once rejected, and you love and accept them. You become the benevolent mother of yourself. You become the benevolent mother of yourself. No longer the violent slayer of what to accept and what to reject inside. You lovingly welcome your orphaned parts with sweet and tender arms. Yes, you lovingly welcome your orphaned parts with sweet and tender arms. That is a beautiful embracing of Mother Kali. And that's what we do when we wash our spirit clean with the hot tub of autumn. We're still in the late portion, the little portion of summer. We're in the late little portion of summer. So in the late little portion of summer, we want to celebrate these 3 weeks until the 21st. Actually, it's 15 days, which will become the autumn equinox. So we're in that interstitial zone, dear friend. We have traveled down to Missouri, to Columbia, Missouri, to experience totality in the total solar eclipse. The last one was in 1918. And the last total solar eclipse within the contiguous United States of America, would you believe, the last total solar eclipse in totality, which is the umbra, which is totally dark, was 1776. That's the last total solar eclipse within the geographic boundaries of what is now called the United States of America. It's very interesting. The spirit of 76 returns in the spirit of 2017. So may this be the open, awaken the revolutionary in our heart to the tune of Beethoven's Eroica. And listen to Eroica. There's a little tune in there that you might find interesting. So check out Eroica by Beethoven. Or it could be Mozart, but I think it's Beethoven. Eroica. The note of the revolutionary, and I believe it was written around that time, 1776. Could have been a little later, but it's the War of 1812 within that same zeitgeist, that same cartoon, within that gestalt. And I find it interesting, like mentioned earlier, as has been mentioned, August 21st, that was the total solar eclipse in totality, and when we traveled to Columbia, Missouri. And to the autumnal equinox and going through. Now, this is an image here. We're traveling through the full moon. That's why this invocation of Mother Kali. And a little bit later, we're going to have an invocation of something much equally deep in our ecology, in our inner ecology. The eschatons will be working. We'll be working in eschatology and eschatons. And novelty and curiosity will be jumping in there and playing with us. And so we're traveling through this full moon with the beginning signature of totality of August 21st in Columbia, Missouri. And then we're taking this right on through the heart song of the autumnal equinox, which is September 21st. So that's from the 21st of August, right on through 2 fortnights, right on through the total solar eclipse of totality, right on through this full moon, right on through this coming new moon with our charged up crystals, right on into September 21st and the autumnal equinox. And that will be our equinoctial sonnet, a symphony of light. And little lights from nowhere will appear within our image, within our inner self, within the within. And so these little astronomical and astrological nudges and golden nuggets to golden up the beginning of this September song. And I really encourage you to go out in the fresh early morning to see the sun as it rises in the early morning, and breathe in the fresh air and see just how crisp and clear the light is at this time of year. There's a lot less humidity right now, and you can see just crystal sharp colors in the flowers. And the flowers have a way of slowing down our hours to appreciate the beauty within and without, both the implicate and the explicit beauty of things. And the within is very cool, and the without as well. And we slow down these hours with the flowers. As we are still in the summer of love, there is true power in the flower power, and that is on the implicate order of things. How the flowers in the silence color reality. In the silence, flowers color reality and sing, "Be here now, be here now, be here now. And all the little bees come round the flowers and huddle right into the pistils and stamens and do their biosexual work of extracting nectar and pollinating the flowers. And may this be the nectar that you find in the crystal middle of your dreams. This nectar, the flower, the flower power of these hours. And you look again, and once in a while, you'll see little butterflies flitting around here, thither, hither, and yon, and they're landing on flowers. This is the time when they're soaking up and delighting in the nectar and keeping the nectar and pollinating these flowers. This is the pollination of the flower, the hours of the power of flowers for hummingbirds, for bees, for all the beautiful little ones, and for the butterflies. And they have their own ways. And would you believe, when you watch them, you can let them migrate into your heart. For this is where they do their best work. They pollinate the flowers, and then they migrate into your heart, where they begin to form the gifts of art, yet to be experienced. And may that be in music, may that be in dance, painting, sculpture, laughter, plenty of laughter, right through the rafters, all right? Singing, hey, you'll do. Because you will, you're good. And so with this, there's a little story that comes back, maybe 500 years? Is that about right? 500-year-old story. This is the story of the miracle of the royal dervish. It is related that the Sufi master Ibrahim ben Adam was sitting one day in a forest clearing when two wandering dervishes approached him. These wandering dervishes approached him. He made them welcome, and they talked of spiritual matters until it was dusk. As soon as night fell, Ibrahim invited the travelers to be his guests at a meal. Immediately they accepted. A table was laid with the finest foods appeared before their very eyes. A table laid with the finest food appeared before their very eyes. How long have you been a dervish? One of them asked Ibrahim. 2 years, he said. I have been following the Sufi path for nearly 3 decades, and no such capacity as you have shown us has ever manifested itself to me, said the man. Ibrahim said nothing. When the food was almost finished, a stranger in a green robe entered the glade of the forest. He sat down and shared some of the food. This stranger in a green robe all realized by an inner sense that this was Qadir. This was Qadir, the immortal guide of all the Sufis. They waited for him to impart some wisdom to them. When he stood up to leave, Qadir simply said, "You two dervishes wonder about Ibrahim, but what have you renounced in order to follow the dervish path? What have you renounced to follow the dervish path? You gave up the expectations of security and ordinary life. Ibrahim ben Adam was a mighty king and threw away the sovereignty of a sultanate in bulk to become a Sufi. You gave up the expectations of security and an ordinary life. Ibrahim ben Adam was a mighty king and threw away the sovereignty of the sultanate of Balkh to become a Sufi. This is why he is far ahead of you. During your 30 years, too, you have gained satisfactions through renunciation itself. Yes, you have gained satisfactions through renunciation itself. This has been your payment. He has always abstained from claiming any payment for his sacrifice. Listen, dear friend. He has always abstained from claiming any payment for his sacrifice. Abstained from claiming any payment, getting paid for his sacrifice. And the next moment, Kadir was gone. I hope. That is a little bit from the Middle East, from the Middle Ages. A little bit of wisdom song. This is the secret of the locked room. Ayaz was the boon companion and slave of the great conqueror, Muhammad, the idol breaker, Mahmud, the idol breaker, monarch of Ghazana. He had first come to the court as a beggarly slave, and Mahmud had made him his advisor and friend. The other courtiers were jealous of Ayaz and observed his every movement, intending to denounce him for some shortcoming, thus encompassing his downfall. One day these jealous ones went to Mahmud and said, Shadow of Allah upon earth, know that Indefatigable has, as always in your service, we have been keeping your slave Ayaz under close scrutiny. We have now to report that every day as soon as he leaves the court, Ayaz goes into a small room where nobody else is ever allowed. He spends some time there and then goes to his own quarters. We fear that this habit of his may be connected with a guilty secret. Perhaps he consorts with plotters, even who have designs upon your majesty's life. For a long time, Mahmud refused to hear anything against Ayaz, but the mystery of the locked room preyed upon his mind until he felt that he had to question Ayaz. One day, when Ayaz was coming out of his private quarters, his chamber, Mahmud, surrounded by courtiers, appeared and demanded to be shown into the room. No, said Ayaz. If you do not allow me to enter the room, all my confidence in you, as trustworthy and loyal, will have evaporated, and we can never thenceforward be on the same terms. Take your choice, said the fierce conqueror. Take your choice, said the fierce conqueror. Ayaz wept, and then he threw open the door of the room and allowed Mahmud and his staff to enter. The room was empty of all furniture. All that it contained was a hook in the wall. On the hook hung a tattered and parched cloak, a staff, and a begging bowl. The king and his court were unable to understand the significance of the discovery. When Mahmud demanded an explanation, Ayaz said, Mahmud, for years I have been your slave, your friend and counselor. I have tried never to forget my origin, and for this reason I have come here every day to remind myself of what I was. I belong to you, and all that belongs to me is my rags, my stick, my bowl, and my wandering over the face of the earth. The secret of the locked room. And in that spirit, we'll have a little thing called the saint and the sinner. There was once a dervish devotee who believed that it was his task to reproach those who did evil things and to enjoin upon them spiritual thoughts, so that they might find the right path. What this dervish did not know, however, was that a teacher is not only one who tells others to do things by acting through fixed principles. Unless the teacher knows exactly what the inner situation is with each student, the teacher may suffer the reverse of what he desires. However, this devotee one day found a man who gambled excessively and did not know how to cure the habit. The dervish took up his position outside the man's house. Every time he left for the gambling house, the dervish placed a stone to mark each sin upon a pile which he was accumulating as a visible reminder of evil. Each time the other men went out, he felt guilty. Each time he came back, he saw another stone upon the pile. Each time he put a stone on the pile, the devotee felt anger at the gambler and personal pleasure, which he called godliness, in having recorded his sin. Let's pay attention here to this. Each time he put a stone on the pile, the devotee felt anger at the gambler and personal pleasure, which he called godliness, in having recorded his sin. This process continued for 20 years. This process continued for 20 years. Each time the gambler saw the devotee, he said to himself, now this is a gambler saying to himself about the devotee, would that I understand goodness, how that saintly man works for my redemption. Would that I could repent, let alone become like him. For he is sure of a place among the elect when the time of requital arrives. When the time of requital arrives. It so happened that through a natural catastrophe, both men died at the same time. An angel came to take the soul of the gambler and said to him gently, you are to come with me to paradise. But, said the gambler, how can that be? I am a sinner and must go to hell. Surely you are looking for the devotee who sat opposite my house, who has tried to reform me for 2 decades. The devotee, said the angel, no, he is being taken to the lower regions, since he has to be roasted on a spit. What justice is this? Shouted the gambler, forgetting his situation. You must have got the instructions reversed. Not so, said the angel. As I shall explain to you, it is thus wise. The devotee has been indulging himself for 20 years with feelings of superiority and merit. Now it is his turn to redress the balance. He really put those stones on that pile for himself, not for you. And what about my reward? What have I earned? Asked the gambler. You are to be rewarded because every time you passed the dervish, you thought first of goodness and secondly of the dervish. It is goodness, not man, which is rewarding you for your fidelity. And what about my reward? Said the gambler. What have I earned? You are to be rewarded because every time you passed the dervish, you thought first of goodness and secondly of the dervish. It is goodness, not man, which is rewarding you for your fidelity. Aho. So thus is some of the wisdom of the idiots, the Zen bastards, the wisdom of the idiots. And as was mentioned earlier in this golden eternity of this hour, we have traveled into the Middle East in the medieval times with the tales of the dervishes, of the wisdom of the idiots, of the Sufi masters. Also, we have mentioned setting the crystals and getting them, washing our spirits clean. And we have mentioned Kali and Mother Kali and the sitting in the first hot tub of autumn. So now we're going to do some really deep diving here and dedicate the last third, the third portion here of this golden eternity of this hour to people who happen to be up at the Veterans Hospital, or veterans who are at home, who are in despair, who are deprived, who are in some soul sorrow, doing soul searching, or maybe have found some relief and release. There is a just theory of war, theory of a just war, and it's mentioned when a warrior comes back, when a soldier comes back from being in a war, according to the just war theory, he has to do penance, and that could mean fasting, going without, doing community service. This goes back to the Middle Ages as well. And that could mean doing penance, fasting for an entire year, tithing, giving almost all of your income, if you have an income, to a social service nonprofit type for the benefit of others, but mostly transcendental. And that penance means washing your spirit clean, going through ordeals in order to heal yourself from having killed another person or been in a war in which other people were killed. This is to get your heart good. So this is dedicated to those who've returned from Iraq and Afghanistan, those who've been involved in Yemen, Somalia, Central America, Vietnam, all the way back as far as you can go. And like I mentioned earlier, for all the Lost Planet Airmen who ever lived, this is for you too. And as I was traveling down Riverside Drive, coming first of all past the Veterans Hospital in Iowa City here in Iowa, I saw a man who was probably in his 70s walking a little dog out around a tree. And I had such empathy with this man, this image of this man who's a veteran, walking this little dog who was his friend and maybe giving him some soul comfort around this tree. And I thought when I got to where I sat down, I could compose a piece, I would dedicate it to him and all veterans. As I say, all Lost Planet Airmen who ever lived. This is ode to a veteran walking a dog in front of the Iowa City Veterans Administration Hospital. The sorrow of a veteran is settled in the wide, expansive oak shade in front of the VA hospital. Many years the wiser, the elder, has grown many golden boughs, since then deepened, strengthened in the sinewy, gnarly roots that lay underground. The sorrow of a veteran is settled in the wide, expansive oak shade tree in front of the VA hospital in Iowa City. Many years the wiser, the elder, has grown many golden boughs. Since then, deepened and strengthened in the sinewy, gnarly roots that lay underground, many years of detritus in this soil of the leaves of years past and of autumns past, the many cycles of the circles of the seasons, and the seasonal wheel turns into the autumn soil. Many years of detritus in this soil, in the soul of these underground vagabond desolation intensity angels. Golden boughs have since then deepened and strengthened in the sinewy, gnarly roots that lay underground. Many years of detritus in this soil, in the soul of these underground vagabond desolation intensity angels. The souls lay in the expansive September shade of 3:33 p.m. Young enough for remember, dear friend, Young enough for remember, dear friend. Young enough for renewal, dear friend. Young enough for remembering, dear friend. Young enough for remembering, dear friend. Young enough for forgiving. Not so much others, but forgiving oneself. Smiling, saying, "You're not so alone as all the alone years. When the alone years were here, strength and courage walked the path. As the tears fed the foliage on the wayside, mugwort, Queen Anne's lace, echinacea. The walk of an upright is to walk a sorrowful path. Do the journey of a walkabout, mending your spirit, mending your soul for a year, in pain and in sorrow for a year, in penance, in the Via Dolorosa year, a walkabout year, dear friend, a walkabout year, dear friend, and then a walk away in walkabout for a year, dear friend. A walkabout year, dear friend. Then a walk away in walkabout, for a year, dear friend. Washing our spirit clean. Washing our spirit clean. Washing our spirit clean. Watching our spirit wash itself clean. To come with clear eyes, a good heart, and a clear mind. Washing and beginning to shine. A year where we learn to bend with ease, to bend with grace, to blend with colors of surrounding flowers, to blend with colors of surrounding flowers, to shine up and inhabit this book of ours, dear friend. This is the book of ours, dear friend. This is our book of ours, dear friend. A year where we learn to blend and bend is no disgrace. A year where we learn to blend and to bend is no disgrace. And to be grateful for the gift of grace. Gratitude is the attitude which peeks through here, round about these parts. Gratitude is the attitude which bleeds through here, round about these parts. To walk for a year in asymmetry, round about these parts, reclaiming our orphaned parts, embracing them, welcoming them back in, sewing them in with sinewy stitch to our within the within. To walk for a year in asymmetry, to blend and bend in the whisper and comforting shelter of willow tree, in its eternal greenery, shining our spirit and shimmering greeningly, where all things are straight, vibrant, and clear. When we wash our spirit clean in penance, become a spiritual walker after 4 years of war, those thrown away boots have become a thrown way for the barefoot boy back into the wild, rolling away the dew, running with the hunt, running with the hunt, running, rolling away the dew, running with the hunt, running way and rolling away the dew. Rolling, 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 this barefoot boy, rolling away the dew. Running, running, running with the hunt. Running, running, running in the summer of love. This is dedicated to all the Lost Planet Airmen who are within this shout about circle prayer of this golden eternity this hour around this electronic campfire. And if you hear this and this speaks to your heart and the Spirit moves you and you find this on YouTube, send this on to the Groove Tube of the one who will say you'll do. Another veteran, another one who needs to hear this song of love, dedicated to those who need to wash in spirit clean, do penance, and come alive, renewed, and forgiving with love and compassion, and especially for oneself. So in these times, to send this out to the Indian nation, Lakota nation, Oglala Lakota, send it out to Shoshone nation, send it out to Anishinaabe nation, north, send it south to the southwest to the Hopi nation, send it southeast to the Seminole nation, send it northeast to the people of the First Light, the Wampanoag and Narragansett nation, send it north way up to the Gwich'in nation, in the Yukon, in the circle of the Arctic Circle, and the Sami nation, and the Inuit nation, all the way around the circle of this planet. Send this round and round. This is very simple from a Heartland poem from Iowa City Heartland writers, from the ode to the veteran walking a dog in front of the Iowa City Veteran VA Hospital, dedicated to the healing of all veterans in all hospitals, but mostly wherever you're at. You're a veteran of something. You've been on this earth for some time. So you're a veteran whether you know it or not. The sorrow of a veteran is settled in the wide, expansive oak tree shade in front of the VA. Many years the wiser, the elder, has grown many golden boughs. And while he was in the military, he was forced into taking many golden bows before the officers, which was like bowing before, unnecessary bowing to another human being, and forced into that conscription of bowing and saluting does soul damage and soul destruction to one's dignity and one's reverence for one's beingness. And the sorrow of a veteran is settled in the wide, expansive oak shade tree in front of the VA. Many years the wiser, the elder, has grown many golden boughs of the oak tree, the sacred druid troth of the oak. And these golden boughs since then have deepened and strengthened in the sinewy, gnarly roots that lay underground. Many years of detritus, and upon this oak tree sometimes lands an eagle. And this veteran has developed many talents for living and survival in this world. Do not discount the many talents of just literally sheer survival that this veteran has developed. He's now a wise man. You can get a lot of wisdom from this veteran, especially the talents, how to live. A lot of wisdom in this veteran. And these talents, dear friend, have become talons of the eagle, and have landed on this oak tree in front of the VA hospital. Many talents have become talons over in the golden boughs, and they have since then deepened and strengthened in the sinewy, gnarly roots that lay underground. Many years of detritus in this soil, and detritus is the leaves that fall in the autumn, and they decay and compost into this rich mulch of soil, this detritus that feeds the roots of the tree. Much like a human brain in the dendrites, if you look at the detritus and the tree and the human brain are very similar. The underground, same as the above ground. As above, so below. Thrice Hermes Trismegistus. As above, so below. Grow. Thrice Hermes Trismegistus. As above, so below. Grow. Thrice Hermes Trismegistus. The divine Pymander, the emerald eye of Merlin. And in the sinewy, gnarly roots that lay underground, many years of detritus in this soil, in the cycle of the seasonal wheel. In the soul, in this soul of these underground vagabond desolation intensity angels, the souls lay in the expansive September shade of 3:33 p.m. on Odin's day. Young enough for remember, dear friend. Young enough for remember, dear friend. Young enough for renewal, dear friend. Young enough for remembering, dear friend. Young enough for remembering, dear friend. Young enough for re-entering, dear friend, the golden eternity of this here now being. Young enough for forgiving, not so much others, but forgiving oneself. But forgiving oneself, smiling and saying, you're not so alone, dear friend. So young enough for forgiving, compassion, hope, springs eternal. Young enough for forgiving, not so much others, but forgiving oneself, smiling and saying, you're not so alone. You're not so alone. You're not so alone, dear friend. As all the alone years, and that's a different time. You're not so alone as all the alone years. When the alone years were here, strength and courage walked with you. Strength and courage walked the path. Strength and courage walk the path. Be encouraged by this. Strength and courage walk the path as the tears fed the foliage on the wayside. As the tears fed the foliage on the wayside, mugwort, Queen Anne's lace, echinacea, and other wild plants of Mother Earth, herbs as well, motherwort. The walk of an upright is to walk a sorrowful path, a via dolorosa. Do the journey of a walkabout for a year. The sorrowful path, no more than that. Walk the sorrowful path for 1 year, no more. In pain and in sorrow for a year. This is the endurance contest. This is the ordeal of the fire in the crucible, in the smithy of our own soul. In the smithy of our own soul. A walk in pain and in sorrow for a year. A walkabout year, dear friend. A walkabout year, dear friend. A walk away in walkabout for a year, dear friend. A walk away in walkabout for a year, dear friend. Washing our spirits clean. Washing our spirits clean. Washing our spirits clean, dear friend. Washing our spirits clean. Washing our spirits clean. A year when we learn to bend with ease, to bend with grace, to blend with colors of surrounding flowers, to shine up and inhabit this book of ours. To shine up and inhabit this book of ours. A year when we learn to blend and to bend is no disgrace. A year where we learn to blend and to bend is no disgrace. And to be grateful for this gift of grace. Gratitude is the attitude which peeks through here. And that is the attitude that brings us up into altitude. So we can have an aha peak experience in the golden Himalaya of Iowa in the high cumulus overhead. And be grateful for this gift of grace. Gratitude is the attitude which peeks through here. And gratitude is the attitude which bleeds through here. Much like bleeding madras, it is a beautiful dyes that have make mandala colors on our soul. And let that walk with the Sarasvati. And let Arjuna know the journey. To walk for a year in asymmetry, dear friend, to walk for a year in asymmetry, and to blend and bend in the whisper and comforting shelter of the willow tree, and to blend and to bend in the whisper and comforting shelter of the willow tree, in its eternal greenery, shining our spirit in shimmering greeningly. And that is livingly, dear friend, because we're going up the country. We're going up the country. We're gone up the country in this golden eternity of this hour. And where all things are now shining, our spirit is shimmering and greeningly. Green leaves of summer and the greeningly autumn embers yet to be discovered in September, October, November, and December. Dear friend, we have arrived in the embers of the year, the golden eternity of the third part of the year, which is all embers. September, November, December. These embers, may they light up our spirit, shining our spirit and shimmering greeningly, where all things are straight, vibrant and clean, vibrant and clear as the autumn air, when we walk our spirit clean in penance. We wash our spirit clean in penance, becoming a spirit walker, and tonight, during the full moon, become a moon walker. And after 4 years of this war, those thrown away boots have become a thrown way. Those thrown away boots have now become a thrown way for the barefoot boy back into the wild, rolling away the dew, rolling away the dew, running with the hunt, running with the hunt, running, 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 rolling away the dew. This barefoot boy, magical child, now in the summer of love, the dove sits in the high altitude, blessing and saying, may peace prevail upon earth in the rainbow hoops of all the nations, red, yellow, black, and white. And so with that, we have come near round the circle of the golden eternity of this hour. And now we're traveling way back to 1600 BC in ancient Greece. And we're going to the Oracle of Delphi, where the Pythic goddesses, the serpent goddesses, give wisdom. And the wisdom that I wish to bequeath to you from that 1600 year BC Oracle of Delphi is Nothik Shotan, Gnothseauton. Know thyself, dear friend. Know thyself. And the Aditon, that's Adyton, of your inner self, the inner chamber, the sacra sacramentum of your the inner chamber of your inner temple. And so with that, may this breathing of this being of be here now bless all of you, and may you have a joyful journey as we begin our entrance into the autumnal equinox. Full moon tonight. Be shining bright. Peace. Peace.